Ahoy, and welcome to the Reel McCoy. I'm Meffistoe, and always with me, my hetero life mate. Oh, my feelings. What is the Reel McCoy? The Reel McCoy is your movie club of the week. We send you out, go watch a movie. You watch it, and then you come back to us, and we discuss it to oblivion. We geek out on it, we nerd out at it, and we tear it apart like we do. Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's been a lot of fun going back to this movie we're going to talk about in a second. But yeah, before we start, I forget to do this every week. I'm going to remember it this week. Please, if you watch this video, the few of you that do watch this video and or podcast and like it, please share it around. Click that share button, share it everywhere you want. Facebook, Reddit, whatever you want. Like if you actually like this video, and if you just want to sit back, lurk away, and just watch this, not even live, I do appreciate that as well. First, if you want to interact mainly with me, you can interact with me on Twitter. Here we go. At Meffistoe. You can tweet me, you can DM me, whatever you want to do, you can do that as well. Or if you want to go to my Instagram, if you like to use Instagram instead of Twitter, that's okay. We're going to Instagram as well, at Meffistoe79. Or if you really not want to do social media, which is absolutely okay, you can use Meffistoe79 at gmail.com, and you can email me as much as you like. Or if you really don't want to do any of these stuff, just put a comment in. Just say, hi, Meffistoe. I really enjoyed this, but can you do blah, blah, blah this on a comment? And I will greatly appreciate that as well. Today, we're going to say hi to James Pond.
Hello,
No Time
Jay.
to Care. Friend of yours?
Not
By
quite
the
sure.
Interesting. Welcome, James. Welcome. We are dealing with Blade from 1998. We're going to go through it. We're going to tear it apart. Maybe skim a few parts. We're going to skim a few parts, and we're going to talk about what's like around the movie. Do you agree with that? We haven't really discussed what we're going to talk about. But
yeah, because there's a lot of scenes in this that can be skipped.
Yeah, so we're going to skip a lot of the action scenes. We're going to go to the like most important parts and maybe speak a little bit beyond the movie. A few things to know about Blade. Blade came out in 1998, but it was supposed to come out at 1997. It was already complete by 1997.
Correct.
But at the time, there were two movies that were superhero based that really did not hit the mark. Therefore, it was moved towards, I think it was the Easter season. I'm not sure, the Easter season or the summer of 1998, because
it was in August of 1998.
Thank you. So the two movies, can you name the two movies I'm talking about?
No, I actually can't. One is Batman and Robin.
Spawn. No, yes, the other one is Batman and Robin. But the other one is Spawn, because they were considered too campy. They didn't quite do well at the box office, so the powers that be decided to move it to that. In terms of
also, it was delayed because of massive reshoots.
Yes.
Originally, the fight scene between Deacon Frost and Blade was not in the original movie.
Yeah, to be exact, the sword scene was not.
Yes.
And if we're going to talk about it when we get to the sword scene. If you notice, in the sword scene, there's nobody there. It's just Wesley Snipes and Stephen Dorff. Now, another interesting fact: Stephen Dorff was not supposed to be Deacon Frost. It was supposed to be, I forgot the name. Me and names, God damn it.
Jet Li. He was busy actually filming Lethal Weapon 4.
Lethal Weapon 4. I think you mentioned it last week, right? I think you mentioned it last week. Yeah.
And then they actually approached Mark Wahlberg for the role next.
I think, just to be honest, I don't like Stephen Dorff. Never liked Stephen Dorff, and I think all of Hollywood doesn't like Stephen
Dorff. Yeah, I think as the role in Deacon Frost in this version of Deacon Frost and this interpretation of Deacon Frost, it's way different from the comics, which we'll get to.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to as soon as you finish this.
I think he did an amazing job as being a petulant little shit.
Oh yeah. And I was like, yeah, maybe Stephen Dorff. I've got this theory for a while. Maybe a lot of characters or a lot of actors we know portray a character. It really fits the character because they're not really acting; they're themselves. And I maybe have mentioned it before. The prime example is Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds playing Ryan Reynolds in another role
in a Ryan Reynolds movie.
Yeah,
exactly. And put the title on, and it's him. Now he could be playing not Ryan Reynolds, but there's always has to be one Ryan Reynolds joke in a Ryan Reynolds movie, even the most serious one. I'll find it for you, and I'll give it to you backstage at one point.
What that was
case in point, he had a movie with Melissa McCarthy, which was very somber and serious, and of course, Mrs. Meth loves it. But he had one joke in there.
Yeah,
where he has that callback, that quick answer back. He did that to Melissa McCarthy at one point of the movie, and it was like, oh, there's Ryan. There he is.
And also, if you look at him too, he always has that little there's almost always a sly little smirk on his face when he knows that he got away with a good joke. Where he's like,
"That's what I'm talking about." So, coming back to Stephen Dorff, every time I hear about Stephen Dorff, I hear about a petulant child actor. So who knows?
Who knows?
Okay, going back to the comics, I didn't have that picture prepared. So you tell me what you know about the Blade comics.
So the originally Blade actually wasn't a Dampier. He wasn't a Daywalker at all. He was just a African American man who hunted down vampires because they killed his family. That's how it was all set up. He got vampirism by being bitten by Morbius originally, the Spider-Man villain.
Oh, yes. I've heard the name Morbius, but I haven't heard of.
Which, by the way, I don't think that Morbius movie is ever going to come out.
Oh, it's
the
not.
Morbius movie that was going to star Jared Leto. That movie's dead in the water.
All right, so shall we reveal how Blade originally looks like? This is 70 or like early 70s?
No, it should be
mid 70s, right?
I think 78 was his first
There
appearance.
We go.
Yeah. Yeah.
How different is this from Blade the movie? And yes, we're going to talk about the movie, but we're like I said, we're going to talk a little bit about background because very interesting when you go into it.
And also, Deacon Frost is an very older gentleman.
From like, excuse me, but the very, very, very shallow research I've done is one. He had an appearance on a vampire type comics, and the hero or the villain of that comics was Dracula. Basically Dracula, and he was
that team
character
was called,
in that.
Yeah.
He became popular, so they gave him a whole issue. He was modeled after the football player Jim Brown. Yes, Jim Brown. That was the facial features, not really the afro, but the facial features and everything. But the afro is very 70s. So this is how Blade looked like sort of originally. Very low tech, so just stakes, knives, and that's it.
And the thing is,
the glasses as well, and the green
knives.
Yeah,
his knives. They're actually they're made out of teak.
So it's wooden knives.
It's wood. Get it? Because he's a vampire hunter.
Yeah.
Ha 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 ha. God, Marvel in the 70s was awful.
How dare you? How dare you?
But anyway, for Deacon Frost, the villain, he was actually a much older man. And this is also before Blade actually got involved with Morbius and the Night Stalkers, which that was the vampire killing kind of like it was not really, it was vampire hunter, and also it's kind of like the Universal movie hunter, kind of like the supernatural team that took down villains that were like vampires and mummies and all kinds of.
And later on, I'm going to show it to you just for a short little while. Later on, around 90s, like early 90s, late 80s, we have a more developed Blade.
Yep.
This is after the first sort of transformation. It becomes a little bit more refined towards like 95-ish. But yeah, this is closer to the Blade we know from Blade 2, and Blade Trinity, where it's this kind of version. First of all, it's the crew cut. It's the leather jacket with spikes.
Well, it's the whole outfit is full on black leather.
Yeah,
and he's always carrying some kind of katana. Apparently, I don't know why he got into utilizing katanas at the time, but whatever.
Yeah,
we'll roll with it.
Yeah, I mean, for comic book readers, it's like, it's another one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of cool. So oh shit, it was playing in the background. So the whole story. So for this particular movie, the whole story starts with basically this. Now, it's Blade 1998 is very, very gory. So there will be some blood here and there. I'm just gonna show pictures, and I'll try to spare too much blood. So it starts off with 1967, sort of that timeline to make Blade mid 30s
30s.
in the 90s, because that's Wesley Snipes look. Like it basically just gives legitimacy to Wesley Snipes look at the time, I think.
Which oddly enough, a quick caveat, do you know that the original studios, they asked once to see if they could, like, hey, would it be possible to make Blade white?
Yes, he was the original casting was not Blade, was not Wesley Snipes. He was the third option, if I'm not mistaken.
No, he was the second option. The first one was Denzel Washington, but
Denzel Washington.
The screenwriter wanted Wesley Snipes, and the third option was going to be Lawrence Fishburne.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. But again, we're talking about like late 90s. It's after Passenger 57 came out. It's after the we talked about it a few episodes ago, that Wesley Snipes had a movie with Sean Connery where it's a murder mystery, and it was talking about Japan, and Wesley Snipes had a little bit showing of his
this is also after Demolition
sort of karate prowess. It's after Demolition Man. So Wesley Snipes was basically riding high at this point, especially in the 90s. He was like off the fucking chain.
Well, yeah, before tax evasion charges.
That's anyway. So his mother gets bitten by a vampire, like we see in this picture, and she gives birth to him, and supposedly she dies. And of course, that kind of starts off. That kind of gives you a prologue to the movie, but the movie itself actually starts with the goddess Tracy Lords.
I found that so funny. As growing up, again, I saw this movie originally in the theaters when I was 14, so I had no idea who Tracy Lords was.
Yeah, I didn't.
Once I realized, like, what?
You know what's funny?
What?
I think I've seen. Have you seen Crybaby?
Yes.
With Johnny Depp.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Crybaby before I watched this movie. Crybaby, I think, came out in 92,
I think?
95?
I thought it was 92.
And I haven't seen it in I haven't seen it in a theater. I've actually seen it like on cable.
Yeah.
Where it's basically, if it's on cable, it's on VHS or DVD or DVD. Yeah. So I've seen it, and then I watched this at the theaters with my friend. And this was like, I haven't even recognized her at all. But now it's like, oh, it's Tracy. It's fucking Tracy.
It's fucking Tracy Lords.
Yeah. So
for those uninitiated,
I'm going to show. Yeah.
There's a long and sordid history with what happened with Tracy Lords. She basically got herself into pornography before she was of legal age.
Sort of at 14/15. Who knows?
Yeah, there was a massive FBI sting, and all of her movies got immediately blacklisted as child pornography, as they should. But then she turned a corner, and then she became, oddly enough, when she became 18, she left porn. It's like, you did that kind of backwards, but anyway.
Yeah, that's Tracy for you.
And then she got into acting, but
yeah, and she did like Babyface is a weird, like John Waters movie.
Oh,
right?
Crybaby, yeah.
Crybaby is a John Waters movie, which is John Waters is
one of Johnny Depp's like intermediate films before he became a really big star.
Yeah. It was after, or no, it was during. Even it was during the few last seasons of 21 Jump Street, and that's when actually Johnny Depp was like getting really frustrated with the producers of 21 Jump Street, where he really wanted to be an actor, a film actor, and they didn't quite let him off his contract because he was so popular. They just didn't want to. They didn't want to release him. Good callback, Saf. I like it.
Yeah, this was before What's Eating Gilbert Grape. Then. right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Crybaby was before Gilbert. So yeah, it could be even 92. Yeah, all right. Okay.
I thought it was 92. So
Yeah.
okay.
Right. So we get this scene. Of course, I cannot show the whole scene, but I'm gonna go two snippets. One written by David S. Goyer, who
Yep.
written so many things that I didn't know, which is fucking insane. He actually wrote Batman and Robin, or was co-writing Batman and Robin.
He co-wrote it. Yes. Yeah.
And he wrote the two next Marvel movies, or co-wrote the two next Marvel movies, X-Men and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man from 2000 and X-Men for 2000. Which
we're gonna get to the impact of this movie later, because this movie does not get the credit that it actually deserves.
Oh yeah, for sure. So this dude and this guy, I only stopped here because I wanted to discuss the most 90s.
It's so fucking 90s. He's wearing a backwards fucking Kangol hat.
Yes,
like he's fucking Samuel L. Jackson.
Exactly, but this is 1998. And Samuel Jackson did that right after Pulp Fiction came out. And him and Michael Jordan were like the two most.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, if you look at all the costuming and the like all the set deck, for all the characters, it is so quintessentially fucking 90s. It is just
if you want to capture like 90s fashion, especially at the latter part.
This
movie is like so exact in how people talked, and of course it's a particular age group, but yeah, if you want to capture the 18 to 34, this is like quintessential that. And this is the crowd you wanted to come to the movies and watch this particular movie.
A 14-year-old burgeoning goth kid.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing is basically, I'm going to show.
Well, I was going to say, just take 1 second and talk about the music real quick and get that whole bit over with. Because
we talked about it backstage. Go ahead.
This track is one of the only techno or EDM tracks that are actually on the album. The actual album is full of hip hop tracks, which makes no sense because it's very, very rarely included. One thing I didn't get to tell you backstage was, do you know who originally they approached to score the movie?
I don't know.
Prodigy.
I was going to say, this is such a fucking Prodigy.
Because this is right after Fat of the Land came out.
And Event Horizon was a year before this one. And Event Horizon had two or three tracks by Prodigy. One of them was Minefield, which actually came back around to be in 1999's Matrix. And go ahead.
Side note, speaking of great soundtracks, the Matrix soundtrack has one of the best soundtracks of all time.
Oh yeah,
fight me! It's amazing.
No, I won't fight you. It is a great track.
Fucking album.
Yeah, but this one was like, I went through it because I just, you talked to me. We talked about it either after we finished the podcast or like the end section of the podcast where you mentioned that, that there's really not a lot on the soundtrack, and I was like, really? And I went to check and I was like, okay, so there's good like hip hop tracks, but they're not in the fucking movie. They're not in the
movie, and also the end credits not in the fucking movie.
Yeah, the end credits, which was like super iconic, not in the fucking movie. So
like why would you not include that in your soundtrack? Like seriously, that didn't make any sense to me. But whatever. That's okay.
Exactly. So
back to our bathing in blood.
Everybody's bathing in blood. Of course, like we said, we're going to skip over a few things and we're going to go on tangent about things that surrounding this movie, because the whole point of this podcast is you go watch this movie, come back, and we're going to discuss all the stuff that you may not even know, because like we've got Safira in the chat right now on live, where he's like, I fucking love this movie so much. Even like said to us, "Hey, good evening, suckheads," which is quintessential from. You have to know
Blade.
this movie to know where it comes from. So we've got everybody's bathing in blood. Everybody's a vampire except for the prey, and the Daywalker comes up, and we have one of the best vampire killing scenes of all time. And it is so good. This is the first time where you see, at least for me, I've seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer before, and it's very close to this, but this is the movie version that Buffy the Vampire Slayer could have done in terms of special effects and how immediate the kills are. He fucking destroys that place.
Yeah, and actually, to be honest, too, Angel does a better job of even doing vampire killings than Buffy did.
Oh yeah,
as a series.
Yeah, as a series. But I'm meaning in total, the choreography, the how things work, the fact that he's cornered and there's like 3 vampires come to kill him, so he has that little that blade, that boomerang blade where he just throws it and he comes back to him, and then you see like 3 guys like crumble. It's just too good. It's just too good.
And then, our poor little lady Tracy Lords gets got.
Yeah, she gets got, and she's out of the movie. So he basically
meet Donald Logan.
Yeah,
Quinn. Yes, we get to meet Quinn, who is Deacon Frost, basically his best buddy, his lackey, and I'm not sure what language he's speaking. It sounds like it might be Romanian. It's definitely Eastern European.
I think they went for an Eastern European Romanian sounding. And it's also at the end of the movie comes in where they're talking Romanian in Russia, because they were not. The girl at the end speaks Russian. The guy does not.
Yeah.
Which is weird, but yeah. So he burns down Quinn. The cops show up, so he doesn't get to interrogate him that much. They take him to the morgue. I'm shortening.
Oh, just one little caveat there. Sure. Stan Lee originally had a cameo in this movie, and it was going to be Stan Lee's first cameo ever in a Marvel film.
Yes.
He was going to be one of the cops and paramedics that came in to put out Quinn, but they cut it due to time.
Yes, I know. It sucks, but we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there soon. So in the morgue, Quinn jumps. Not only her name is Karen, which is fucking hilarious today, but he jumps Karen, the hematologist, and the guy who kills
2 of the
he kills
autopsies.
He kills the dude, the coroner, and he tries to kill Karen. That's the only 2.
The other guy got away.
Their blood. The coroner, who's Karen's ex, becomes some sort of a blood-sucking zombie, which is I've never seen that in any movie, but whatever. And he sucks off Karen, but he doesn't complete the job because here comes Blade. Yeah, no, it's fine.
And then Blade comes to save the day.
And I like it when the cops or the rent-a-cops for the hospital shoot a Blade, and he like front and center look at them. Motherfucker, are you crazy?
Yeah.
What have you realized what mistake you're doing here? Yeah. And the cops are like, oh shit, and they run.
What is this like? Why aren't you like running after and shooting the burnt corpse that just mutilated a man and then tried to kill this woman?
Yeah. Something like that. Apologies. Hey, it's been a long 3 weeks. Anyway, so let me get one scene without fucking blood in it. So Wesley Snipes, so Blade takes Karen to the lair, and to meet Whistler. And we see Chris Christopherson.
Yes.
Oh,
who also was not the first pick to play Whistler, which now, in retrospect, you're like, how could you pick anyone else for this role? It's like not picking Sam Elliott to be the stranger in The Big Lebowski. Like, how could you ever imagine anyone else in that role?
Exactly. Do you want to tell me which one it was? Because I've again, me and names, I've did my research today, and of course I didn't write in my notes, and fuck it.
There were several people, but the one that sticks out in my mind that was a first pick before Chris Christopherson was John Voight.
Oh, he would have done a terrible job.
Terrible job, 1998?
Yeah. 1998? Oh,
I know, right?
No. Sam Elliott would have been better.
Yeah, oh god, Sam Elliott would have been dope as Whistler. Holy shit.
Fucking Whistler.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah. Sam Elliott as Whistler? Fuck yeah. Well, Sam Elliott was stuck doing fucking whatchamacallit, with Patrick Swayze. No, that was 90.
Roadhouse. That was in the 80s.
No,
but actually, this is actually around the same time.
Same time as Lebowski.
Yep.
Same time as Lebowski. So they came out same year, but shootings and all that stuff. Yeah, so they take Whistler, and I like the fact that Whistler comes in with the garlic injector. Is like, this is a sodium nitrate garlic essence. This is gonna hurt bad. And he shoves it into her neck, and you can see it shoving into her neck. I know it's like a prop thing, but he like shoves it, and he's like, oh.
Well, also like he tells Blade, hold her down, and all Blade does is go,
Yeah, exactly. And I like the fact that when he comes in with the basic corpse, it's not a corpse, but it's her body, and it's like, oh, you're bringing in strays now, aren't you? It's like, oh shit, strays. This dude is out of this world. So we get we go to the council. Next scene is the council.
Yes, and we get to see what a petulant little shit Deacon Frost is.
Yeah. So it's the Council of Purebloods. It's a little bit. This picture is from a little bit later, but the council is discussing what Deacon Frost is doing and how like he's immature, and because he's not a pureblood, and he's breaking all the treaties that we have. We get a little bit of backstory about we have treaties with the humans, and Deacon Frost is all about.
It's also they're doing a bit of world building there when no one else realizes that holy shit, vampires fucking exist. What?
Yeah, and they sort of like they go every scene we have, either with this or with Blade, we get like a snippet of information. Did you notice that? We get just a snippet of information, but nothing more than that. We don't know everything about the world at the end of the movie, because at the end of the day, it's an action movie, but it also is a comic book movie. If you think about it, in the comic book movie, if you read just one issue of one comic, you get a little bit of snippets of like world building, but you don't get the whole story. And this is what I like about this one, because they touch about, and we're going to get to it, we touch about the Book of Erebus, we touch about the treaties between vampires, the Vampire Council with the humans. Which humans? The world governments or the shadow government? Who knows? We don't know. It just, everything is implied, and I like that about building up a story, building up a world around it where you don't know everything.
The only thing that I don't like is during reshoots they did before, they cut out a very major scene between Blade and Karen, talking about how vampires would exist in a world without humans, if everyone were a vampire. And they talk about, well, what they would do is they would basically set up giant farms.
Yeah, and later on in Blade Trinity,
it came back farms. And they did this. Yeah. So it comes off and it pays off full circle with the way, especially with Dracula being resurrected, which Saf, good call about that. But we don't like to talk about Blade Trinity though, because that was a fucking awful movie.
Yeah, it had a lot of issues with it. I like the fact also, putting this scene aside, is I didn't know this, but Wesley Snipes was a producer on the first, so on all of them, but on the first one as well. He was really committed to making this movie the best it could be. Yep. And that's why when Stephen Dorff came in on the first few weeks, I guess because Stephen Dorff is a petulant child, he had a lot of issues with Wesley Snipes because Wesley is a very committed actor, apparently, and he takes his roles seriously, both as an actor, but in this case, he also took it very seriously as a producer, and it kind of created a little bit of friction, which kind of dissipated because when they didn't need to go into those reshoots, both actors were very willing to make the movie better.
Yeah,
that's why the reshoots worked.
Yeah.
So in this particular scene, we get a little bit of backstory about how Deacon Frost is not a pure blood, and there's an animosity between pure bloods and non-pure bloods, sort of Harry Potter style, even though he didn't call him a mud blood, but whatever. But we get also the philosophies of the council's philosophy is we're going to live in the shadow world and make sure there's enough food for everybody, where Deacon comes from a place where we are the superior race and we need to rule the humans.
Well, what he refers is like, well, why are we even dealing with these people? Why are we treating them? They are our food.
Yeah, exactly. And he said, point blank, he point blank says it as well. It's like, you would think he wouldn't say it, he was like implying in it, but they're all vampires, so they know exactly what he's talking about. So of course we get a little bit of exposition, a little bit of backstory, because again, like I said, you get a little bit of snippets of information. And then in the next scene is Whistler talking to Karen, and Whistler basically telling her his little bit of a backstory, so we know
his story about his family and why he's hunting them.
Exactly. How a drifter was a vampire. He killed his wife, he killed his daughters, and he also made him choose which one to die first, which is fucking awful. It's just psychotic and awful. But you get to see why Whistler is hunting the vampires, what his, where he comes from, what his motivations are, and you're empathizing with him as if you are Karen, as if you don't know anything about Blade, you don't know anything about Whistler, so you're at the position where Karen is, where you learn about Whistler and you learn about Blade and how the interaction kind of works between the two.
And then also, this is also the same scene where he tells her the story about Blade as well.
Yes.
And how he found Blade starving, basically blood starved, because he is still half vampire. That's why he needs his serum. Which there's a small little snippet scene. We don't have to really talk about it. I'll just point
where
out.
he goes to the.
He gives basically like a bag of watches and stuff from all the vampires that he's killed, because there's nothing left but ash and all the druids they were wearing. So he basically just takes it to this guy, and this guy gives him uses that to get the money to make the serum, and then he gets the serum.
Yeah, exactly. And what happens is they release Karen. They take her back to the home, and
real quick.
I know what's bothering you. Don't worry. I skipped over a scene. Don't worry.
Okay.
Because it's basically, it goes back and forth. So I want to continue that Blade and Karen story. Okay. So Whistler gives Karen a concentrated garlic essence. Mm-hmm. Tells her that if she has any thirst she can't quench, just basically buy a gun, and if you have any thirst, just take it and just kill yourself.
Just kill yourself.
Yeah. So, and they go to the house. Meanwhile, we see Deacon Frost having an interaction with the name of the actor is Odo, which is
Udo Lang.
Udo Lang. I think he's Norwegian or Swedish.
I don't know. Saf, is it one of your people?
No, he's not. No. Definitely not. It's Norwegian or Swedish, something like that. And we get again a little bit of snippet of information. What is Deacon working on? And he's basically the head of the Vampire Council, comes in to chastise him and tells him, "What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? All these? Yeah, you're not allowed into these records. Just stop doing it."
And also, the music that Deacon Frost is listening to, also not on the soundtrack.
Really? What is he listening to?
It's another EDM. It's another random EDM track. Okay. But that's also not on the soundtrack.
Weirdly enough. And Deacon is now turned from like a petulant child into a vicious psychopath at this point, where you don't tell me what to do. You just go get the fuck out of here. And
if anything, he's now become a megalomaniac.
Yeah, completely. And he's, what we know at this point is like he's working on deciphering a text from the Book of Erebus, which will come into play very, very soon. Before we continue, let us do our first segment of the night. And our first segment of the night, as you may well know, is textless posters. What we do is I give you 10 posters. I will put them in front of Oh My Feelings. And of course, the chat can chime in if you want. 10 posters. Their text has rubbed off or magically disappeared. And we want to guess which movie it is. The first one is a very easy one, but it's so good. I've put it in here a long, long time ago. But after watching a specific comic book, this kind of appeared to me out of thin air.
Ghost Rider.
And there is a comic, Blade versus Ghost Rider.
Yep.
From the early 90s.
And actually, at a point in time, Ghost Rider was actually part of the Night Stalkers.
Interesting.
Group with Blade and Morbius. It has the guy who plays Mr. Bean. I hate everything that he's in, so I do not know this movie.
Really? Let's see the chat. We've got a few people lurking about. I can see that. Although I do hate looking at the numbers while we do these podcasts, but yeah. Saf goes, "Oh God." That means this is the first Johnny English.
Wow.
You know why I know
we are the Men in Black.
You know how you know it's the first one and not the second one? His hair turns grayer and grayer and grayer. Yeah. We are the Men in Black.
Spaceballs. Spider-Man 3.
By the way, like I said, didn't plan this.
Superman Returns. Boondock Saints. Is that the Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers?
Nope.
Return of the King?
No.
Just Lord of the Rings?
No. You got 3 tries. You've tried 2. Try the third one.
I said the Two Towers.
It's not the Two Towers.
The Twin Towers.
Not the Twin Towers. No.
I don't know. Fuck, I don't remember the goddamn
Fellowship of the Ring.
Oh, well, it's just the same fucking. Oh God, is that?
You want me to punch in?
No, I know this movie. Sorry. Random Amber Alert on my phone. Heard random long beep. That is.
I'm sorry, the chat beat you to it. It is the Three Kings. Kings.
Yeah.
It is the Three Kings. It is such a shit movie. Unbelievable.
It's not a good one. X-Men, duh.
I did not plan this.
Well,
This
actually,
is
no.
not X-Men.
That's X-Men 2.
That's X2, correct,
2,
sir.
yeah.
And that is the last one.
Because that was that song.
Yeah, that was X2. You know how you know? Iceman is in it.
No,
can see
not Iceman.
Iceman is in the
No, not Iceman. Nightcrawler, son.
Oh, first of all, yeah, you can see Nightcrawler, but Iceman is there, right there.
Yeah, but Nightcrawler is the more important person. And the more important character.
Excuse me?
Yeah. Vastly more important. Not more important on power level, I know. Technically, because Iceman is technically an Omega level mutant, and if he wanted to, he could snap freeze the entire world and kill everyone in an instant. But that's a whole other thing.
It didn't happen in the movies. I don't know.
Comic books.
It's all comic books. It's all comic book shit. All right, so of course we come back to Blade and Karen realizes that she has a cop in her house, and as soon as she sees the cop and he acts weird, Blade shows up and he kicks the living shit out of him, and Karen discovers that Blade kind of really doesn't care about her, really.
She sprays the cop in the face with a concentrated garlic.
Yeah.
Not knowing that he's a familiar.
He's a familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is somehow it went really backwards here. Yeah, we know what. Let's go. So she discovers that Blade kind of made sure she is a sort of a bait to bring out somebody, and they found out he has blood in his cop car, and it's going somewhere. And we also get, again, a snippet of information. Oh, this goes to a blood bank that belongs to vampires, because and it goes from the blood bank to somewhere.
Well, it shows originally when she was on the elevator going up, she saw the two people on the elevator that were with her. She saw the tattoo on the back of their neck. Yeah. And then later that cop, he pulls up the back of
Blade pulls it back and shows it to her.
So, oh yeah, this is from Frost. It's like, well, what does that mean? It's like, oh well, that means if any other suckheads, given Saf's parlance, kills him, they're gonna have to answer to his boss.
Owner. Yeah, his owner. Yeah. And he looks at it and was like, oh, it's Deacon Frost.
Frost, yeah.
And he knows it goes somewhere. So they sit here like we see here. And Karen says nobody's that stupid to come back to the cop car, because you're gonna get followed. And he tells her something really important, where when you know a thing, you know what drives people to do the thing. I'm of course misquoting him, but generally speaking, he says, well, if you know the thirst, you know what drives the thirst. That's why it makes people do dumb shit. Now, allow me to question a serious flaw in this particular scene.
Go right ahead.
Blade has the blade here. How is he sitting comfortably in that car, and how come this titanium blade doesn't rip his bucket seats to shreds?
Well, I assume that it's actually in a scabbard.
It is in a scabbard.
First off, so it wouldn't tear it to shreds, but it would be wildly uncomfortable.
Yeah. So they follow the guy, and we have, for me, rewatching this so many times, I was like, I can memorize the Japanese rap or that is in this. I can memorize it, but when I think about it, really, really think about it, how come in LA you've got a Tokyo style club with just Japanese people, not
And
Asians,
it
Japanese.
Well, it can kind of make sense, that there are specialized clubs all over, especially in major cities. But like, granted, it's not like the Chinatown or anything like that. But it could have. It's feasible. I'll put it that way. It's feasible.
And
that does not break any kind of expectations in my mind of something.
For me, watching this after so many times, like, yo, so there's a whole bunch of Japanese vampires, because essentially it goes into, I'm not even sure they're vampires, but they're all sitting around in the dark wearing sunglasses. So I'm guessing they're vampires, but technically it goes down below where you have the archive, essentially. The archive, right?
And who else?
Oh, Fat Tony
Our
Salerno.
favorite big boy. Our favorite big boy.
Again, me and names, I totally forgot his name. Like, I was this time around, I was like, I'm not even sure it's a man or a woman. I'm guessing it's a man, because if it's a woman, those tits do not do it for me. I'm sorry. I'm so shallow. I'm so shallow. I'm a very shallow person. Anyway.
That's a really interesting way to identify gender. I'll put it that way. All right.
Hey. Putting my sexual preferences aside. Before we get to what's the fucking guy's name? The keeper.
You don't remember?
No.
You really don't remember?
I've blanked out on it.
I don't remember either.
You can Google it. The chat knows. What am I here for? The chat knows who the fuck it is. Exactly. So before that, the familiar, again, the cop, goes to Deacon and he says, look, Blade came in and fuck, he's in he found out where the archive is. Yeah, you got to go, like, kill him. And Deacon kills him. Basically, he bites him, but he doesn't bite him to turn him. He just bites him to just leave him to die. And he tells Quinn, you have to go and get him, and you have to go and get him and keep him alive. And Quinn is like,
why would I want to bring him back alive? We've been trying to kill this man for how fucking long?
And he still doesn't give him an explanation.
Yes. Not
just yet. And
his name was Pearl.
God damn it, Pearl. See, this is why I didn't know it was a male or woman.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that Deacon is looking at this. This is like after Deacon looks at it. This is where actually Blade looks at it, but this is the animation or the deciphering of what is written in the Book of Erebus about how to summon La Magra, the blood god. But we all know the blood god is actually Hakar, but who cares at this point?
Actually, my blood god, I prefer to be Corn.
Corn. Oh shit!
Blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throne.
Skull. No. So there we go. That's a perfect shot. There we go. Yeah. So this is the archive. You've got he goes into what we expect of a modern archive should be. So lots of supercomputers. Today, supercomputers are server, like a server farm. And then after he maneuvers after that, we see the actual archive. And this is pages of the Book of Erebus written on basically human skin and written in human blood.
And what I find really cool too about just the little subtle details is the fact that if you look at all of especially the large glyphs that are written, they resemble what?
Hieroglyphics.
No, they resemble all of the current vampire houses and all of
Oh
the current vampire leaders.
Yeah. Of course.
So that's when Udo Lang's character was telling Deacons like it's impossible to decipher all of these. Like, well, your names are all of these. It's basic fucking linguistics from her.
And it's basically two scenes where we see the first one where Udo Lang or his character comes in to chastise Deacon Frost, and the other one is Deacon Frost before the cop comes to tell him what's going on. He's sitting at the computer with the translation and the animation that we see already translated. So there's not only the translations, but also the how it's supposed to look and where it's supposed to be as well, which is good. So Blade kind of explains to Karen this is what it is and what it's all about. Again, we get only a snippet of information about what it is, where it comes from, and nothing else. So we get to see Pearl again. I'm not going to show it, but I love the fact
fried by a UV light.
Yeah, getting fried by it's like and when Blade kind of finishes with the interrogation, he gives it to he tells Karen, I need to do something. If he moves, fry him. And when Blade goes somewhere else and Pearl doesn't want to
immediately just it's like, and what, he moved?
Yeah, he moved. So, and of course, Blade kind of has the spidey sense section where he kind of notices something's off, and he notices a little girl, and then the little girl comes up and almost beat the shit out of him.
Well, he's like, let me help you, and that's when Quinn shows
Quinn
up,
comes in
that's
with
when the girl turns.
Yeah, exactly. And Quinn, of course, takes Blade by surprise, and he shoves him that fucking silver stake on one hand.
Well, then he takes those, like, you took my hand, and like, do you ever think I'll play piano again? The rotted, like, necrotized, like it's healing itself. It's regrowing its new hand, but it looks just awful.
Yeah, exactly.
And in the background, one of his minions does what? He makes the Judge Dredd error.
Yes,
which they show. He goes, "Look, I've got his pig sticker," and it just blows his hand up.
Exactly. And we see, and we also know it's coming because
we saw Karen
earlier Karen wakes up at the lair and she touches the titanium sword just a little bit, and she sees how it kind of works. And when she gets her face close, it kind of opens up and nearly blows up in her face. Not blows up, but it nearly pops in her face.
Scope. Yeah.
So Quinn kind of hits Blade, and Blade is just laughing. And this is where it kind of suspends my disbelief, where Whistler comes in, blows a hole in the wall, and comes in with fucking assault rifle and shoots everybody. And for some reason, even though he's in this target right here, right? He's in one hole and he's in the middle of the hole. Nobody fucking hits him. He rescues both Karen and Blade, or Blade kind of gets freed because everybody scatters, and he picks up Karen and they run away, get to a subway. And I love the fact that they really wanted to use the sentence, "I'm too old for this shit," but they couldn't.
Yeah.
So
because
Chris Christopherson says, like, superb lines, like, "I need somebody give me a wheelchair," where he literally with one hand takes the fucking car and just runs off. Right.
Well, there's the one scene too in the subway tunnel between Blade and Quinn too. Yeah. Like, this is like the only really other major scene with Quinn in it, besides the very finale, really.
Where he takes his arm again.
No, he takes his arm, but also he smashes his face up against the running subway car. It was like, oh, it was actually back then. This is like when CGI was becoming really popular, And this is actually one of the first, I think, in my experience, one of the first really good examples of CGI working in a practical way that didn't look way too fake.
I agree.
Hi, Mrs. Neff.
We're live, by the way.
Good night.
Good night.
Enjoy.
Bye. All right, cameo by Mrs. Meff. I was like, I was looking at the monitor where we handle everything, and I was like, oh shit, there's a face here. What the fuck? She came in stealth like. That was. Well, I'm with earphones. Everything is stealth.
I am too big to be stealth.
She's too big to be stealth. That is a mistake. Anyway.
No comment.
No comment.
That's what you say, Beth, right there. No comment.
No comment. All right.
What's he doing to his nose?
What's he's who? You've seen this with me.
It's the nose laugh, though.
The question is, what is he doing to his nose in this scene? Tell me, chat. Please tell me. Mrs. Meff wants to know what.
It's called Nip Tuck Gone Bad.
Oh, did you hear that?
Yeah.
Nip Tuck Gone Bad. And we were just discussing CGI putting your face into a subway car. Let me see if I can get it. So yeah, no way I'm gonna get it. Yeah, it's so like half a second or a second and a half, which is very hard to catch during this. But yeah, they have a miraculous escape. Ergo kicking the shit of everybody there. And of course, as they go into the sub car, the into the train car, Blade needs the serum, and we get
you get to see that
like
he actually does have a weakness with how he actually absolutely needs the serum to keep him going. Exactly. Otherwise, he's going to become blood crazed.
So we get to this part. There. Where we basically see.
Okay, this is one of two scenes in this movie that piss me the fuck off.
All right, go ahead.
You know
because
why?
I know what pisses you off.
Completely breaks the entire mythos of the whole fucking thing. So what you're telling me is these motherfuckers can put on fucking sunscreen, wear all black, and they can just walk out in the sun, right? Everything's just kosher.
Yes.
100% cool, right? All right.
Yes. That's the premise. And I like the fact that later on in the other scene that breaks your arm,
we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. Let's talk about the Udo Lang death scene first. We'll get to the next one.
So Deacon Frost kind of says, "Well, how about you just watch a sunrise for the first time because you're a pure blood.
You're a pure blood. Oh wait, you've never actually seen a sunrise before." And I do like Stephen Dorff's line in this because he does sound like just a petulant little shit where he goes, "You know what? Deep down at heart, I really am sentimental. I want to give you a gift."
Do you know what my other issue with this scene is? And it's so stupid. They're in LA, correct? Is it said they're in LA for sure?
It's not said, but skyline and everything. It's like, yeah, you're in LA.
Okay. How come the sunrise is in the ocean? Think about it. Yes. Thank you. That is one of two issues I have with this movie. The rest I can slide everything. One is the makeup. It's so stupid. The UV lights come in through the eyes. So I'm guessing they put on some sort of contact lenses, maybe.
True. Well, the thing is, in this
It's
scene,
a problem.
they put on
It's a problem.
they put on the biker helms.
Yeah,
that would have something that would would
but a
block
second
UV rays,
a second before this, you see a scene between Steven Dorff and the girl whose name is Arlie. I think it's Arlie Smith.
Well, the character's name is Mercury.
Mercury. The character's name is Mercury. So you can see them touching each other and rubbing some sort of lotion on each other.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of a mock sex scene, but not really, because they're fully dressed. So they just putting the makeup. That's how you know it's makeup.
Yeah, this was supposed to be
then,
sort of the setup.
And then it comes to this scene.
Yeah. This was supposed to be a setup for the next scene, the later scene too, between Blade and Frost. But anyway.
Arlie Jover. Thank you, Saf. There. Yeah. Thank you. See, chat are on point with us. So you get to see Deacon Frost coming into the council because we know what's going on. Well, we know that he comes to them to basically take them to the temple, right?
Well, things have changed because he walks in with
the
Udo's
two
teeth.
fangs. Yeah, with the two fangs.
Which, by the way, that was a mix of practical and CGI. The Udo's death, how he melted and burned and exploded.
Yeah, I know. Because the CGI is super cheesy at that point. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, but the practical effect of the explosion with them, all of them actually going whoa like that. No, that was a real take because they weren't sure how big the explosion was actually going to be.
Yeah, the explosion was real because you could see the people back off, but the CGI melt, not good. All right, so second scene that pissed you the fuck off. Reason.
Here he doesn't have. So this brings back to your original point of, if they were wearing the biker helms to protect their eyes, right?
Yeah.
Now he's not even wearing that at all. Now he just has makeup on, and
in broad fucking daylight. Yeah, and kind of we gotta get Blade saying your mascara is running, meaning once it runs out you're dead.
Because your mascara is running. I will give Blade credit though, because this was the first movie to use what technique, my friend?
Don't know.
Bullet time.
Right.
This did it before The Matrix. Granted, of course, The Matrix did it way fucking better.
With one caveat. There is bullet time. You see the bullets and Steven Dorff's character dodge them, but you don't see not the smoke, but the sound wave it does as it travels through the air.
Trail,
the trail. That's fucking see.
Yeah.
The trail, you don't see the trail of the bullet, you just see the bullet itself. But but
this is the first movie to do bullet time.
Bullet time, yeah. All right. Didn't it was there in my mind, but yeah. So we get Steven Dorff kind of mocking Blade. He tells them,
because he first offers him a peace treaty, just saying like, hey, you know what? Come join us.
Yeah, come join us. Where the La Magra is coming. It's time for you to join us with your people, and we'll rule under whatever. And of course, Blade doesn't give a shit. So Deacon Frost goes to the next best thing and goes to fucking kill Whistler or bite Whistler, which is even worse.
Which this scene kind of bothered me too, because it was clearly a setup for a sequel, which was done in the reshoots, because this wasn't part of the original film.
It was done in scene. You think this whole scene was a reshoot?
No.
Because
the scene at the end of the film setting up the sequel where he's going to save Whistler in Blade 2, that was a reshoot. This was basically like Whistler was supposed to just flat out
Yeah.
fucking die here.
Yeah.
Which
I
makes sense.
to be honest, I didn't like the fact that they brought him back for Blade 2. This is why Blade, I know that in terms of favoritism, in terms of what people like from the trio, I've heard a lot of people say, well, Blade 2 was really, really good because the CGI was better and the story was better because it had both good vampires and bad vampires. It had a lot of the more of the comic book world of Blade. It wasn't just
Very
Blade.
much so.
But the thing that bothered me was the fact that they brought back Whistler, and it never quite sat good with me.
Yeah.
Whistler's daughter was hot though. Yeah, that's
well, but
Blade Trinity, and
she was in Blade Trinity though. That was not.
Yeah. Saf says Blade 2 was the worst, which I'm
wow.
not
Saf, you have
sure it's
terrible
the worst.
Moving on.
I'm not sure it's the worst, but Blade.
I mean, come on.
for
Blade
me,
2 was directed by Guillermo del Toro at the height of his powers.
I still prefer Blade 1 to Blade 2. Call me a purist. So we get this part where he comes in. Whistler was beaten to all hell, bitten as well. And it was like, just give me a gun, get the fuck out of here, walk away. I'm done. I'm just going to put a bullet in my head and be done with it. And we don't see Whistler put a bullet in his head. All we see is his hand kind of flops.
You do hear
you hear the gunshot, and his hand kind of flops, and the gun basically
clangs
falls
against the ground. Yeah,
and you're led to believe, if there's no Blade 2 or 3, at this point we believe that Whistler just committed the ultimate sacrifice, the same sacrifice he told Karen to do, which harkens back to closing up loops and telling something in the first scene and having it pay off later on in the movie. And this is something I love the most when storytelling is done correctly.
I would say one thing that we did skip over, really huge elements, was in the intro note, the side story with Karen, the fact that she's a hematologist. She basically was like, oh yeah, here's a cure for vampirism.
Yeah,
I cured myself.
Yeah, I cured myself. Hello. But
and also here's a nifty little thing. If you throw it at somebody who has it was an anticoagulant.
Yes, it's an ED. It's an actual material. It's not blue. It's not. It's completely clear. But the material itself that they talked about is an actual thing.
Yeah.
They inject that into people who have blood clots or thrombosis. I think it's called thrombosis, where you like sit a lot.
Like cystic,
not cystic fibrosis.
Thrombosis. I know. Cystic thrombosis. Yeah, it's the same like when you get tracks like running up your legs.
Yes, exactly. It happens a lot where people like sit like streamers, like 12 hours a day.
Yeah, it's to prevent embolisms. Yeah,
embolisms. And it's basically aspirin, but on steroids.
Right. Well, but the thing is, that wouldn't make you explode, though. Wouldn't that just make them essentially melt into a puddle?
It would make you bleed a lot.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. It shouldn't do what they said it do.
I mean, what it shows to be like, it's a cool effect, but also it would have been cooler if all of a sudden they just started just randomly just bleeding and they just bled out and just melted into the ground.
But I like what they did with it. I know even at the time I knew it was like, dumb.
This is dumb.
But it was such a cool way of destroying a blood god eventually. But there is that fight scene with I always called it a brother and sister, but they're not really a brother and sister. They're just a boy and a girl bodyguards, basically vampire bodyguards. It's just a thing with my friend. We always call them brother and sister.
Oh yeah, getting to that fight, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's not just yet. It's not. Oh, it's actually, yeah. where they basically Blade and Karen go and try to like kill.
Well,
they go into Deacon Frost's lair where they never knew
'cause
where he is. And now they're
Karen's
actually
already
knows.
taken by them at that point.
No. At this, they take both of them at the same time. They take both of them at the same. I like that. I'm going to show this part. Yeah, this is just after he stuck one
of them
in the head and one in the face, in the in the chest. And
yeah,
one
we're
of
talking
them
about
blows. Yeah, one
terrible
of them blows
CGI.
upwards. Yeah, one of them blows upwards and one of them blows sideways. It's kind of funny because this CGI is so bad. Even at this freeze frame, it looks like it was sort of. Do you know where you put a picture and you put like a clear a clear picture on top of it where you drew something? So if you take like a map, if you look at the map and then you take a clear clear material and put it on the map and then start to draw on the clear material.
Yeah.
So the clear material and the stuff that you drew kind of looks detached from the map. This is exactly the same effect for me. I know it's hard to explain, but the CGI, not only does it look bad, it also looks out of place.
Mm-hmm.
If you run this part, I can't run it right now, but if you run this part, just the two explosions, it looks detached from the movie under it.
Yeah.
So the movie is at the background and the blood splatters are at the foreground, but they are so bad. You can see the lines, even at the individual droplet, you can see the lines where it crosses the background, and that kind of takes you out of it because it looks fucking fake.
Yeah.
But yeah, enough about bad CGI. We've got enough bad CGI in the 90s.
Oh, there's going to be a lot of bad CGI coming up very soon too.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
There's a lot of it.
Yeah, I know. So Blaze goes into a very white room and he discovers that his mom, who he thought she was dead, was actually turned, and the man who turned her was Deacon Frost. Essentially making the villain sort of the, I would say, he's not the dad, but he's the dad.
He's my
figure.
vampire stepdaddy.
He's my stepdaddy. And there's a lot of issues with this, but I'll let it slide. I did not like the fact that she lived. I know it's for story purposes.
Well, in the retcon in the comics, that actually was the case.
What do you mean retcon? They retcon it at some point?
No, they in the comics they retcon Blade's origin. They retconned it twice now. And this is the one that they actually ended up sticking with, was the fact that his mom was bitten by Deacon Frost and he was born a Dampier.
Okay.
Not that he was made one like he was originally. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Okay. We're not going to get into...
Oh, I know, Saf. It's awful. We'll get to it.
So, cut to, we go to the temple where we see the council being rushed in along with Blade. Karen being thrown into the pits. I know it's a little bit all over the place, but Karen being thrown into the pits. We'll get to that. Don't worry about it.
No. I just have a question about the whole staging of this.
Yeah.
How old is this fucking temple?
Not that old, I guess. I don't know.
Well, it was made for this specific purpose. This vampire, the Book of Erebus, is millennia old. Who built this? How old is it? And why did nobody know it existed before?
From the inside, it sort of tries to copy a Egyptian-ish style. Not really.
Egyptian, Babylonian.
On the outside, it on the outside, it looks like a fucking industrial building.
Yeah, but I know, but the giant like pure polished marble
I know.
top. Like the fuck is this shit?
Exactly. But I mean, the setting is not good.
Yeah,
but the
I would
action.
say like if it would be rebuilt from the book specifications, they just figured this shit out.
Yeah,
they just figured it out.
Exactly.
So either it's millennia old, or vampires got some magical contractors. That's all I gotta say.
Well, they do have treaties with the humans, right?
Got these motherfuckers working in shifts.
All right, so we get to a scene where it's really hard to capture. I'm trying to capture it on this side. Can't do it. Okay. What I wanted to show is the fact that Deacon Frost knows all about the sword, where he knows
he grabs it and goes like, oh, and he flicks the switch. He goes like, what?
And
you know all about us. You don't think we know about you? It says,
exactly.
It's a titanium blade. It's acid etched. Yeah, we know all about this.
And he also like fucks with Quinn, where he tells Quinn, look, Quinn, just put out your arms. It's like,
also,
I just grew them back.
And he goes, just
fucking with you.
Well, and then Quinn walks in first too, and he goes like, oh yeah, by the way, thanks to the shades. Because he's wearing Blade's sunglasses, which comes up later.
Exactly. And of course, like I said, Karen gets thrown into the dungeons, and that's where they keep the coroner, who was her ex. And like I said, that kind of bothered me. Not bother me, but not really bother me. He's a vampire that is so thirsty he becomes a zombie, or
apparently they're like ghouls. So
yeah, he's sort of a ghoul, but not.
There's no satiating the thirst at that point in time. They just have to constantly feed. That's what the concept of that is.
Yeah. Again, and she very easily runs away from him, which is weird, but okay. But again, she only lives to spray mercury in the face with the fucking with the garlic essence, which I don't know how it does it, but
that's later.
I'm just trying to wrap up Karen's storyline, because it's basically her fighting the ghoul really fast, running away, going up, fighting mercury, while Blade is
shooting shotgun shots, which, by the way, she's the worst fucking shot in the whole goddamn world.
Well, vampires do run really fast. And she basically sprays mercury in the face or in the mouth.
I'm really going into this.
She explodes.
Yeah, and her head just blows up. Like, no, that's not how it was shown when he hit anyone else with anything garlic based before. They just deteriorated. They turned to ash. They don't.
But whatever.
Let's just say this whole film has its mythos completely out of whack.
And before she gets to killing Mercury, of course, she lets Blade drink her blood because he has to drink the serum. She tells him, don't worry, I can repair myself. Drink my blood. He becomes strong.
Yeah.
End scene, or not end scene, but start of ending of the scene. But yeah, before that happens, I just wanted to wrap up the whole Karen storyline because I wanted to go away. Before that happens, they take Blade and they put him in a box.
Yeah.
And the box, once it's fitted like a coffin, it has two blades that cut his wrists.
It's essentially like an Iron Maiden.
It's basically an Iron Maiden. It drains his blood into a pool, and it starts to drip down into that sort of cylindrical shaped construction, into dripping down into the councilmen's heads, dripping down on their forehead, and of course starting the whole Lamagra process.
Yes. Bring it forth.
And this is where the CGI comes into effect.
But
Yes, I know I'm skipping back and forth. Don't worry.
You're pinball mapping all over the place right now. I don't know where you're
Yes.
gonna go next at this point.
We're gonna go to bad CGI.
Oh yes,
And the bad
giant.
Wait, the bad CGI starts right after Blade drinks from Karen. Karen
Yes.
kind of flops back, and Blade regains into full strength, or even more powerful.
more strength
Yeah.
because he's actually drinking blood, not the serum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm trying to get to a specific spot. The
Giant
councilman,
winged demons. That's what
the
you're thinking. That's what you're
councilman,
looking for.
yeah. Where is it? Let's go with this. I would say I wanted to catch the moment where
Yes,
they
but you
go
you can
from the fucking skulls.
they rip out. Yeah.
Yeah. So a strange lightning hits the woman in the face, and it up comes these winged skull demons.
Demons. Yeah.
Please, I'm gonna sit back and you can tell me all about this.
It has no basis.
Wait.
whatsoever.
But can you do this? Yes, tell me about this. I was joking. Go. Did I take you out of it?
It has no basis in anything.
No.
It's
does
just
does it come
hey,
up in the
you
comic
know what
book?
sounds really fucking cool? Skeletons with wings. Yeah.
Wait, they're coming out of their mouths,
Yeah.
turning them into ash. Yeah. So
But Sap is
tell-
right from the original. This is way better because oh god, the original was terrible.
what was the original? What was the original scene? Please tell me, because this was a reshoot. This was a reshoot. Is it?
This is not technically a reshoot. This is what they actually really wanted to shoot, and they
There
got
we
the
go.
money to finally do it because the original was so fucking stupid. When you go to what Lamagra was supposed to be, it was. Oh boy, you have to see it. It's almost impossible to explain how stupid it is.
It is stupid, but oh, I've got a message.
Yeah.
Send me a message.
Yeah, that's the cut
Oh,
CGI stuff.
that's the alternate ending. That's okay. I'm gonna watch it later.
It's terrible.
It's terrible.
Really fucking bad.
I think I've seen half of it, Saf. Yeah, I've got it. I've got the link. So this,
Yeah.
to be honest, I loved this when I saw it the first time. Now, no, when it came out originally, please tell me your emo self was like, fuck yeah, skull demons. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, fuck yeah. My favorite band at the time was KMFDM. Of course, this was my fucking Jimmy Jam, son.
This is why this worked. This is why this worked, because this movie was all about fucking emo, was all about fucking edgy, all about like punk, whatever. So this scene fits for the time, I think. That's my opinion. Yes, the CGI looks bad. It's not as bad as the blood CGI, I don't think. I do enjoy how it kind of makes Steven Dorff maybe look like a badass, but not really. And the fact that they go into him and the movement that he does up and down, like he getting like hit in the stomach.
Yeah.
Weird, but it works. It works for this particular scene. So Blade is full strength and he literally kicks the shit. I like this part.
One thing, just small 30-second caveat there. We missed on a very important thing where Blade kills his own mother.
Oh yeah. I know.
Just put it out there. It's really kind of important for character development.
I really love this one where he.
But yeah, and also guess what? First Marvel superhero landing.
That's exactly what I wanted to go for. Where he literally does a flip flop and he lands.
He does the superhero landing. That is the superhero landing.
The superhero landing. This was copied for everything. Black Widow did it. Hawkeye did it.
Black Widow even made fun of it in its own movie.
In fucking Black Widow 2020 or 2021, doesn't matter. It actually was laughed at 20 years later.
Yena was telling Natasha, like, why do you always land like that? It's so stupid. Why do you land like that?
And then she does it by herself, and then she said, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Which is not. But yeah, it became so iconic. And this is why we talked about it for like an hour ago. This movie was the start of basically the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but not really. Because this was greenlit and made so much money. The budget for this, believe it or not, that's my research. Maybe I'm mistaken. The budget for this was $40 million.
Yep.
And it made about 210, I think.
Worldwide. Correct.
Worldwide. So domestic, US plus international.
I think
about 240.
Domestic was like 130 million, which was
something like that. So it was very, very successful for 1998 to basically quadruple your money.
Well, that also after two major
flops, like we said at the beginning, Spawn
that and Batman and Robin
broke even, and Batman and Robin that I think lost a little bit of money. It break even. Spawn broke even. I know.
Yeah, Batman and Robin lost a lot of money because of who they cast in the film.
Yes,
paying for Schwarzenegger, paying for Clooney at the time because Clooney was getting up there.
That was ER Clooney at the time. 1997 was ER Clooney. It wasn't like Ocean's 11 Clooney. It was ER Clooney, which was it for people who didn't know that Clooney was even in ER. He was the top billing for, I think it was a Thursday night cannot miss. Was it?
Show. It was must see TV.
It was must see TV. It was Seinfeld, ER, and Friends. It was Thursday night. Was insanely profitable for NBC.
Yep.
And it was shows that were the salary that people commanded going into those shows was insane for that time.
Well, I mean,
Seinfeld got $1 million per for each cast member. Friends got $1 million per, and Clooney didn't get $1 million per, but it was very, very close.
No, but Friends wasn't at that point yet. They were still getting like, oh, heaven forbid, they were getting like $250,000 an episode.
Yeah, I know.
No, but they got to that point, but it was to the point where the shows demanded that these people have to keep going, and this was actually on. This was actually just a couple of months after Seinfeld ended when Blade came out.
Yes, I know. So. But this was peak. I was going to say Batman and Robin it failed because it was too expensive and didn't bring enough money to cover everything. So basically a flop.
Yeah.
Even if you break even in Hollywood's mind, you don't make movies to
It was a
break
failure.
even. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's a failure. So this movie comes out, and suddenly they greenlit a sequel. They greenlit the X-Men, the 2000 X-Men.
Fox greenlit X-Men.
X-Men,
at that point.
and they greenlit
Sony
greenlit
greenlit Spider-Man.
Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire,
Written by Sam Raimi,
which was both immensely popular, made a lot of money, made sequels, and kind of birthed Marvel Studios. They kind of flopped it with Fantastic Four and other things, but generally speaking, before Iron Man kind of gave birth to the MCU, this was the movie that got it all greenlit, basically gave the green light to just go for it, go for everything, go for comic books. And done the fact that it presented a serious, dark, not camp, dark comic book movie that made money. This was okay. This is possible. Let's go. And we have what we have today. It's more sort of a summarization of this movie, but yeah, we have one more scene to go. Let's have a pause and do our second segment of the night, which is Cinema Deathmatch. Let me just punch it in.
All right.
Here we go. We have a crowd for us. Please, crowd, if you don't know what this segment is all about, in this segment, we take two movies, we pit them together and see which one is the best one. Now, what is the best one is so up for grabs. So our personal criteria is, at the end of the day, Friday evening, Saturday evening, sit around with the boys, sit around with the girls, or with your significant other. What movie from these two pairings do we want to see? So let us have our first pairing. I Am Legend or original Ghostbusters. So give it a few seconds. Give it a few seconds. I know it's hard. But tell me, why is it Ghostbusters and not I Am Legend?
Because I Am Legend is, first of all, it's a terrible adaptation of a good graphic novel. And also, it's the original fucking Ghostbusters. Come on.
All right. I just wanted to draw it out a little bit. All right. The Time Traveler's Wife or The Mexican? Have you seen both? I've seen both.
I have, unfortunately.
I've reluctantly seen the Time Traveler's Wife, by the way.
I know a lot of people don't like it, but I really like The Mexican, not for Brad Pitt or Julia Roberts, but for James Gandolfini.
Oh, I love you so much, dude. I love you so much.
James Gandolfini is amazing in that movie.
James Gandolfini plays the best fat New Jersey mobster gay guy that I've ever seen and never been repeated. It was so good. The Mexican, of course. A Christmas Story or Bruce Almighty? It's a 1983 Christmas Story, not the original Christmas Story. Do you want me to say?
Go ahead.
For me, it's Bruce Almighty, and I'll tell you why. I'm not Christian, but I do have a sort of an affinity to Christmas movies. I do enjoy my Christmas movies, but Bruce Almighty was so good in combining a good story with Jim Carrey's delivery, which for me kind of, after Ace Ventura, it kind of went down. I didn't like Cable Guy, didn't like Liar Liar, didn't like any of those movies. But in Bruce Almighty, kind of had a really good heartfelt story, really had a good premise, and the Jim Carrey delivery.
Yes. Also, before I pick, Bruce Almighty has one of the best scenes of Steve Carell's comedic career
I
coming
agree.
out off of the Daily Show. Now the thing is with A Christmas Story is they have a thing in the United States where they show a Christmas movie for 24 hours on a certain cable network, and my parents have it on every fucking Christmas. I fucking hate that movie now.
All right. This we might be differ on. Let's see what
yeah,
happens.
because you already know what mine is.
You like Sideways, right?
I love Sideways.
Right.
Oh, that's so amazing.
Mr. and Mrs. Jones, did it make money or did it flop? I'm not.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith?
Yeah,
it made money. It made money.
It made money.
Yeah.
This is the movie that basically broke up Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston and gave us whatever Brangelina or whatever. I was gonna say Benifer, but that was wrong. Chat wins. What do you mean? Chat? Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Well, Chat wins, dude. I'm sorry. They chose Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Chat doesn't win shit. We have authority here. You guys are the callback. Like you guys are like a second, third string choices here. All right. You gotta slow your roll.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Eat a dick, Meth. Moving on.
Legally Blonde or The Professional, or as it's called everywhere else in the world, Leon.
The Professional.
The Professional for me too. Chat can go suck a dick as well because that is a beautiful
Gary
movie.
Oldman is awesome in that movie.
Right. Two movies I hate. Blair Witch Project and Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I don't hate Harry Potter, but I don't like the movie adaptations.
I would have to say the Blair Witch Project because I hate everything Harry Potter related because their fan base are insufferable.
Okay. Let's see. We've got Harry Potter from James. Anyone else care to chime in? Saf says Blair Witch Project. Well. We are dead even. So I'm going to pick whatever I want to pick, and it's going to be Blair Witch Project. Sorry. I'm going to give it to you.
God.
All right. A Clockwork Orange or The Nutty Professor? Tell me, sir, why is it not The Nutty Professor?
Because The Clockwork Orange is, I think, Stanley Kubrick's second best film.
After?
The Shining.
The Shining. I disagree. I think this is Stanley Kubrick's best movie.
That's a fair assessment.
and although it is very long-winded and boring, 2001 was a better movie than The Shining. Yes, I know.
Ooh,
and
that is blasphemy, my friend.
Shining is number 3.
Ooh, that's blasphemy there.
It's A Clockwork Orange. I know. I'm well aware. Armageddon or E.T. Now, you know my stance about this. I don't like either of these. I'm a blasphemous person. I am the only one on the planet that doesn't like E.T.
Reese's Pieces.
You going for E.T.?
Of course.
Sorry, my dude. You lose again. It's Armageddon.
Oh, wow. You people are awful.
Oh.
Okay. No, this is a bad Indiana Jones, so it's obviously the Terminator.
I'm not even looking at chat. It's going to be the Terminator. Last pairing, because we have to keep going. Last pairing. Star Trek Generations. I've never seen this particular poster before. This was Japanese? No. Yes, this is Japanese.
That's the Japanese one. Yeah.
That's a Japanese
poster.
Star Trek Generations is the first one combining TNG. This is the first TNG so the next generation plus a little bit of old Trek together.
You said you've never seen it, so
I've seen it.
Oh, I thought you said you haven't seen it. Oh,
I've seen it.
Sorry, no, you meant the poster.
I've never seen, I think, the last one. I've seen Nemesis. And
by the way, these are both Japanese posters.
Oh, I didn't even look at E.T. I just look at the title. E.T. Don't care about ET. For me, it's Star Trek. For you,
That's
I
an
can
interesting translation. Yeah, I would go with ET.
ET. Okay, let's go with ET. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this segment. Ooh, next pairing is Reloaded versus Batman Forever. That is the Val Kilmer Batman.
I would still say Forever because oh my god, all the Matrix sequels.
I've actually seen Reloaded, which is the second Matrix. I've seen Reloaded with Mrs. Meth a week ago. It is not as good as the Matrix. It's not as bad as people say. The only problem I have with it is the fact that it leads to revolutions.
Yeah.
Everything
leading out to what the outside world and that version of Zion and how convoluted oh yeah, by the way, there might be a Matrix within a Matrix, which now Matrix Resurrected is basically going to bring that concept back into the forefront.
I don't know. They kind of got me with that trailer. I know it's bad.
I'm going to go see it because it's like
it's on HBO Max because that's how I'm going to see it, like day 1 or day 2. But
that also I have a distinct feeling what they're going to do is they're actually making Trinity the one this time.
I don't know. I've seen it
said
many a times.
I've got a feeling.
I've seen it said many a times. I don't know.
Which I wouldn't be opposed to as long as they do it properly, not just randomly. Hey, no, she's the one this time.
Yeah, James in the chat said the trailer screams money grab. Could be. Hey, could be.
Possibly because all of the Wachowski sisters projects have been giant major flops since the Matrix trilogy.
I know. Since the first Matrix. Plus, one of the sisters, they asked her if she is after the trailer came out, she got not blasted, but she's being reporters came in and tried to get her response, and she was like, "I am not dealing with anything in this movie whatsoever. Please do not contact me at all," which seems very strange, but okay.
Well, unfortunately, though, James, it was a commercial box office bomb, though. V for Vendetta, it was a good movie, but it was a bomb.
Yes, I did enjoy Vendetta, but I do know because of how the story goes why it wasn't very popular. Now, if it would have come out 2020, holy shit, it would be supremely popular.
Because if it came out in the last 4 years, it would have been massive.
I would say
yeah,
I would say for sure. So jumping very much ahead after Blade basically kills everybody. The last scene, not the last scene, but last scene of the movie is him having a very, very nice, I don't know how to call it, a really cool sword scene, a very short sword scene with Deacon Frost, where like I said before, if you notice, there's nobody
you could tell,
there.
It's again, this is how you could tell this was one of the reshoots because this wasn't in the original film. So it's this makes sense why no one is in there.
Yeah, if you know a little bit of the backstory and how this redone, then it kind of fits why there's nobody there. Even not ashes. In the other scenes, you can see the ashes scattered. In this, they didn't even put the ashes. So they fight, and of course, Blade wins because he's Blade. He cuts his arm, turns around, does a slash cut, and
cuts him in half. His arm is flying away, and as he's flying, his torso is flying upward. And it's connected by this terrible CGI artwork, of blood, bringing him back together, and then his arm. Then he just goes like this, and his arm.
And he goes like this, and I feel sorry for the guy who did the animation for this because today's tracking and 1998's point tracking was not
Well, and also like when Blade turns around in that one scene, he literally melts. What the
Oh yeah,
fuck?
exactly. Exactly. It's not like there's no curses at all in this movie. There like fucks and all that in the movie. That's fine. But him turning around and watching what the fuck, and it was like when you're watching this today, it was like, yeah, is he saying what the fuck because of the reattachment, or what the fuck is this fucking shitty CGI?
Yeah, like. But no, actually, Sap is right though. It's significantly better than the idea that they had. Just put it that way.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch that alternate. I kind of avoided it. I've the video that Saf linked to me, like personally, I've seen that video. I didn't watch it. I've seen the thumbnail, so I've seen it like yesterday while doing my research.
It's really bad. It's one of the dumbest ideas I have ever heard, and it's worse than the Kevin Smith, the Superman movie that he was trying to write with Bruckheimer, where he was like, yeah, with Nicolas Cage starring as Superman.
Does it involve a massive big spider in it?
No, but it's almost as dumb.
Okay.
And by the way, Bruckheimer finally got his giant spider in Wild Wild West.
No, it's not Bruckheimer. It's John Peters. John Peters that's John Peters you're talking about.
That was
Bruckheimer. No, it was John Peters. Yeah, for sure. I've watched
that up.
I've watched that story being told by Kevin Smith so many
times. Yeah.
So many times. Anyway,
moving on to the end. To the end of this cavalcade of fuckery.
Yeah. So he manages to take one of those EDFs or EDMs, whatever it's called, and he sticks it in with using a kick, no less.
Yes, he kicks it. Well, he throws all of them, and then he kicks the last one into his skull.
Exactly, and
he says what? The classic line. The classic line of what?
Oh, some motherfuckers
are always
try to
skate uphill.
It's so good. I've even put it in the short as well. So we get this, and it starts off to me. It starts off that the whole swelling at the start really looks like practical. It's not. It's all CGI, but it looks practical at first, and then it becomes a CGI mess. Yeah, really. At this point,
this shot here looks like a shot from like The Thing.
It looks like a shot from The Thing. It shows like what's his name? Not Baker.
Clive Barker.
Not Clive Barker, but the other one we talked about him, Winston.
Oh yeah, Ray Winston.
It looks like a Ray Winston type of, claymation, a practical effect, but it very quickly turns into a very bloody and awful CGI mess, which, it kind of, it works. It works for me. I did enjoy it. Deacon Frost gets dead. That's all that matters.
Then at the very end, the last scene is just this random Russian woman talking to, I believe, is he speaking Romanian or Estonian? It's one of the two.
It's like I said, the woman is speaking in Russian. The guy is not. I've Russian population around me, or ex-Russian population around me. They're 20% of our population in this country, and I can hear Russian being spoken every single day. This is not. He is not speaking Russian. Neither is Wesley Snipes. But it is in the you see a shot in the red square and people walking in the snow. The guy is clearly attacking this girl, and Blade is there to put a stop to it. Basically, the hunt for the vampires continues. Right? Yep. Yeah, Mr. Potato Head, like my coworker, Mr. Potato Head, is is an ex-Russian. So I hear Russian every single day. But the fact that he says "dovarish," which is a guy, and the translation is comrade. Dovarish is not comrade, is like I say dude, or the UK version mate.
Yeah.
That's that on the same level. If you know a little bit of Russian. That kind of brings this whole thing into the another EDM style techno music that is not on the soundtrack again.
And yeah,
but it's one of the more successful
credits.
Ones. Yeah. The end credits are pretty fucking good. It actually goes into one of the other tracks, but not the hip hop track. I think one of the trip hop ones.
The many hip hop tracks that are on the album that are and not they're all in the movie at all.
I've listened to them today. They're pretty fucking good. They're really good 90s, good fucking 90s hip hop by bands you never even heard of.
Oh, well, yeah.
Tracks are pretty good. I mean, there's like hit or miss here and there, but
yeah. Well, they did. Well, Dallas right too. That the New Order was randomly thrown in there as the one band.
No, the New Order Confusion. I think that's the Blood Rave one. The end one.
Oh, Saf, don't remind me of Mystical. Oh,
yeah, I've listened to it twice today.
Oh, Mystical was so good. Mystical was supposed to be the new Busta Rhymes,
but no. All right. So before we close out, let's do a summarization. Let's do the short ones to close us off on this podcast. So summary. I'm gonna start first. Blade. Watch this at least 30 times in my life, maybe even more. Didn't count. Watched it twice this week and watched it numerous takes while I was doing my editing for the short. Although it has its flaws like any other comic book movie, you have to suspend your disbelief. CGI, put the CGI aside. We did kind of criticize it to endless amounts in this kind of podcast. But overall, for the time, not that bad. No. It's like saying, well, the practical effects in Star Wars in 1977 was bad. I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt because the story, which is what I try to focus on whenever I watch a movie, the story was good. The story was progressed. I want to know more about the world where Blade is inhabiting in. I want to know more about Blade. I want to know more about Whistler. I want to know more about the Council. What is the functionality of the Council? Where's the treaties? Who is this? What is this treaty about? Is it a shadow government? Is it a real government? Is world government? All that stuff is kind of not, it's there, but it's missing. That's why Blade 2 was kind of had a go ahead because it was so popular. It was so good. And David M. Goyer, bad director, really good storyteller. Yeah. Bad director, really good storyteller. Right? Because he did the third one as a director, but it was... kind of not there. Never mind. Give us a little bit of summarization on this, because we talked about all the things that are around this movie.
Personal impact. I absolutely adored this film as a teenager. I've watched this movie. How you had your series of I've watched this movie 100 times. I've probably watched this movie probably 200, 300 times.
That's fucking good. Yeah.
This fit the aesthetic of kind of all the music that I was into and the subcultures that I was into at the time. So it fit me to a T at that time. Granted, now that I've grown out of it, it's when we talked about it a little bit earlier backstage, it's not campy, but in a way, there are some scenes where it's bordering on it. And with David S. Goyer as one of the writers, it makes sense why it kind of borders on it just a little bit.
Yeah, but it keeps true to the dark. I think it keeps true to the emo side of things.
No, it does.
Yeah, I can see where
definitely does.
I can see where you're coming from, where you talk about it teeters on the edge of camp. Not really. It's not Batman and Robin camp.
It doesn't go. It doesn't go.
It doesn't go full Batman and Robin, but it
No.
has touches here and there.
And one thing that is the really most important thing about this, and we've touched about it countless times throughout the podcast, but I just want to reiterate one more time, is how important this movie really is, not only to the creation of the MCU, but I believe it was Saf and James touched on it, where basically this is the first commercially successful superhero film starring an African American in the lead role.
Yeah.
Spawn was the first real big
with
blockbuster.
What's the guy's name? He was later on cast as the mafia boss in Batman Dark Knight.
I can't remember his name.
I can't remember his name. The guy who played Spawn later on got the role as the mafia boss in Dark Knight Return and The Dark Knight.
But
specifically because Christopher Nolan is such a crazy person, but in a really good way.
But the thing is that movie was considered by all accounts really a bomb. Michael Jai White. Excellent. Good guy, man. Well, this, on the other hand, was a massive box office success for it to be a superhero film that just came out after two major flops in the genre, starring an African-American actor in the lead role. That is huge.
Yeah.
It's almost, I think it's completely unprecedented.
For a comment, I think the next one is Black Panther. Say what you want about this movie. I didn't like Black Panther.
No. I mean, for any kind of genre, you'd be like, so
because you had
two major.
No, because you had Wesley Snipes, Passenger 57, a few years before that.
I'm talking about any other genre, that like two comedies, like two major comedy flops, then one big one starring someone who was basically not considered that big of a box office draw. Yes, Wesley Snipes was at the height of his powers, but he couldn't command a scene like Denzel Washington could at that time.
But Denzel Washington could not do the action scenes that Wesley Snipes could.
I know.
That's the major difference.
I know.
Maybe Denzel, we talked about it last week, is a phenomenal actor, but he's an actor, not an action star.
Yeah.
He's not. Yeah. Passenger 57 was not a superhero movie, but it was led by African American. But so are many others before that. Not many, but especially in the 90s, where you had a lot more openness to having black characters or as leads or as secondary leads, even before the 90s. So Beverly Hills Cop is one, and 48 Hours is another one, both starring Eddie Murphy, who was not a action star, but became sort of a comedic action. He kind of combined the both and kind of made it work. And it was, again, I don't want to go into the race thing because I think it's dumb, because I think Wesley Snipes earned the role not because he was black or African American. I think he earned this role because he's a good action star that has that can carry this movie not only with his acting but also with the limited amount of karate that he knows. I don't know how far he knows, but maybe he's a black belt, I don't know, but he can carry it, makes it believable.
I think you're misunderstanding my intention here. No, what I meant is, given the parlance in Hollywood at the time, he is not what they would figure as, okay, this man is going to make this movie a giant success. This movie, we're not going to get 5 times return on investment on this movie because we have this character portrayed by this man.
One point in
And
that's
that's also why during when they were actually during the script and during pitching, the studio wanted to make Blade white.
Yeah, which was dumb because in the comic book he's black.
I know, but see, like, that shows what little confidence that they had in the character. Yeah, but
that's executives, dude. That's executives. They don't know shit.
I know. But that's what I'm trying to say here.
Exactly. One point before we do the short, Book of Eli, like James mentioned, Book of Eli was after the 2000s. I think it was 2004, 5, 6, 7, whatever. Denzel in 1998, Denzel was Philadelphia and what? Like really powerful, dramatic movies. At the top of my head,
Fire.
Man on Fire. Was he an action star in Man on Fire? Really? Even in Training Day, it was not an action star. It was an action movie. Star.
No. It's a dramatic film. That Training Day is a drama.
Yeah, but he's not an action. Passenger 57 is action from start to finish. Blade is action start to finish. That's what I'm talking about. Like, even in Book of Eli, yes, there are badass moments in that tavern at the start, but it's not a pure I would say not a real pure action movie. It's more of a dystopian. Yeah, that's where I have a problem with. But if you think about Denzel Washington, or at least I think about Denzel Washington, I think about great acting, not great action.
That's fair. I mean, well, in his later days, I mean, have you seen The Equalizers? He's actually really good in those.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I didn't see second. I think I've seen the first.
James beat you to the punch there, my friend.
Yeah. He was an action star in Equal. I agree. And even a good one as well. Even a good one. But that's later on. I'm talking 1998 Denzel.
Yeah.
1998 Denzel was not known. All right. Enough of this.
All right.
We are about to end this podcast with a favorite of everybody, including myself and all my feelings. A short version of Blade.
Here we go. The short version.
It's him. It's the Daywalker. Give my regards to Frost. Bringing home strays now? You are a disgrace on the vampire nation, Frost. The world belongs to us, not the humans. I'm building a resistance to the serum. She's a hematologist. She might be useful. We are tracking them. They are hard to kill. What are you up to, Frost? You use me as bait? Tell Frost it's open season on all suckheads. If he moves, fry him. He moved. The Book of Erebus. I'm expecting company. Somebody get me a wheelchair. You'll never be a pure blood. We have a good arrangement. He makes the weapons. I use them. Your mascara is running. Walk away. We are at the top of the food chain. One big happy fucking family. Just kidding. I'll promise you'll be dead by dawn. The thirst always wins. I want you to take some of my blood. Frost! What the fuck? Nice shot. Some motherfuckers always try to ice skate uphill. Keep your cure. I got a job to do. All right. Okay. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. Please like this video, share this around if you're watching live or if you're watching on a VOD. I appreciate that very, very much. If we earned your subscription today, sub it. you know, red button down below. If you want to interact with me and not bother all my feelings, because he's very, very busy on a day-to-day basis, Twitter at Meffistoe. You can DM me, you can talk to me, you can at me, whatever you like. You do that. If you don't use Twitter or don't want to use Twitter, please use Instagram at Meffistoe79. You can interact with me, send me messages, all you want. If you don't use either of them, please, Meffistoe79 at gmail.com. You can email me. If you don't want to use any of those, that's okay. Comment section down below. Say what you want to say on this video, on any other video. You can check out podcasts that we did. Every single podcast is a sort of a standalone. You can watch it. You can go back to it. And of course, you can catch me saying stupid shit like Mike Judge created Idiocracy, or was it in fact Mark Morheim? Anyway, until
you got it right this time. Because Mike Judge did. You said Matt Groening.
Matt Groening. Never mind.
Idiocracy. Yeah.
Never mind. Okay. So I said, never mind. Okay. Enough with the shenanigans. I have to go because I have to go to sleep. Next week. That's important. Next Saturday, we are talking about a powerful movie. I think it's Ed Norton's second best performance after Fight Club to me. I think you might agree as well. It is American History X. Very controversial, very, very tense in biracial relations, especially in LA, especially in the 90s. Another one of those 1999 movies. Awesome. Yeah, 1999. It came out same year as Fight Club?
I believe it came out in 98.
Maybe 98. Maybe I'm mistaken. That's okay. So next week, American History X, starring Ed Norton and the insufferable
Edward fucking Furlong.
Yes. We shall see you all next week.
Bye.